It's the weekend. It's Mailbag. I am delighted to be joined on this freezing cold Saturday morning by Ed, Warren, and making his Mailbag debut, Ben. Ben, how does it feel to be on the other side of the Mailbag?
Yeah, it's kind of trippy, but here after a win, so at least we're not sad.
Yeah, we do dig into that quite a bit, as you will have seen. So it's 8:30ish at night over there.
Yeah, 8:30. Yeah,
on Saturday.
You're into the future, Ben.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
So
I know.
the Everton Palace game's been played already. So you've seen it. For me, Ed and Warren, we're going to guess the results, and you tell us who's closest.
All right.
So I think it's going to be 0-0. Dull game.
I think it's going to be a 1-1 last minute equaliser from James Tarkowski.
That could never happen. Ed, what are you saying?
Well, realistically, 7-0 with all the goals being scored by Beto, but just to be sensible, let's just say 0-0.
0-0. It's going to be a tight game. How does it? Don't tell us what the score was because that. Who's closest?
Okay, it was a low scoring game. Reason being, I was thinking about it before that Beto is like the only player who's probably gonna play that has scored. Like I can't remember. Lindstrom hasn't scored. Harrison hasn't scored. Yeah. There's not many goals on that team on our end. So I guess we kind of have to hope for that solid away performance.
And the strange thing about this game is Everton and Palace are going into this game as form tems. Now that's scary. Never happened. No. I know.
No.
Yeah.
Insane. Right. I'll do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the questions because I do this now like a proper podcaster. So if you're watching on YouTube, please do like, subscribe, share, all of the above, whatever, and tell your mates about us. And if you're on Patreon, tell your mates about that as well and get them to subscribe to that. If Everton photography is your thing, I think Laura's discount code is still available. It's TBR25 and you get 25% off everything. Now, hot topic. Let's go. Ben, what's your favourite derby goal?
Yeah, it's Jags at their place. Just like such a rocket, got to go with that. So you obviously you're seeing so many clips of that this week as well, and that's just so good to see. Just the way it leaves his foot from behind, you just see it just travel. It's amazing. Yeah.
That shot from behind is brilliant, and it is the sweetest half volley, and a proper half volley as well that anyone's ever hit. I think.
Yeah, it's got everything, doesn't it? Well. The surprise on his face when it goes in is priceless.
Yeah, I always feel quite bad as well with when centre half score goals like that, like Tarkowski the other night. They don't know what to do to celebrate. You just haven't got a clue. They're taken by surprise by the goal, and then they're like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?"
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing the other night, did he? He was doing these ones, but also not.
He would have been thankful for everyone jumping on him there just to stop doing anything. Ed, what's yours?
There's so many. Well, there's not actually, to be fair. There aren't that many at all. But I think for me, it's Andy Johnson's second in the 3-0 derby. It's got all the elements. Them completely losing their heads, especially Pepe Reina, bearing in mind was one of the best around at that point.
Yeah.
Johnson stealing it, nodding it in, all of us going insane because it's 3-0. We've battered them, we've absolutely creamed them. And Johnson striding away with that shit-eating grin. I do this every week, lads. Don't know what you're talking about, sort of thing, with the little 3-0 towards the fans and everything.
Yeah,
that was our taste of what they get,
wasn't it?
And it was really sweet. And I hope they enjoyed being on the other end of it for once. When they complain, as they often do when they don't get what they want. It's nice that they get to experience that for once because it's normally us.
Yeah, it is. And I think my favourite thing about that goal was when Reina grabbed Johnson's head, thinking it was the ball.
So it's the ball. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, that was a thing of beauty. Warren?
Do you know what? I love all the winning goals in derbies, obviously. Duncan's in '94 and goals like that. But for me, I was there at Anfield, and it should have been the winning goal. And but for it, I can't even remember the equalising goal, but we shouldn't have conceded it. It was Jermaine Beckford's. Do you remember Beckford's in the 2-2? And I'd say I was there at that day. And when we went 2-1 up, it went off. It went off. And I thought, this is it. We're finally going to win at Anfield. We're finally going to do it. And I think Kite got the equaliser late on. I think it was a silly goal that we gave away as well.
It was Tim Howard.
Oh, Dave's mate, yeah. Let's not go over that. But yeah, it felt like we were on the ascendancy, and it felt like a derby that we were actually in control of that day. And but as I say, I think more for the reactions in the away end that day. And that was one of the. I mean, I've always said, like, now I'd never go to an Anfield derby again because I just can't. I can't take going over there. I don't like it over there. I don't want to go over there. And I think after that one, I think that was the only chance I would have seen, really realistic chance of seeing a winner there. So that one for me, it was just, as I say, the away end was outstanding that day. So I'll have to go for that one. Yeah, Beckford's in the 2-2.
Yeah, Stephen agrees with you on that. He said Beckford's goal away at the Upside Down wasn't a winning goal, but I travelled a few rows in the celebrations. My one's probably not.
Oh, my camera's working. Sorry, my camera's just come on.
Yes. If you watch it on YouTube,
I'm here.
He was not naked. We thought he turned his camera off because he was just sat there in his nap, but he's not. He's got a t-shirt on at least. Mine is one that probably not many people will put down as theirs, but it was my first derby that I've been to see at the ground, and it was Tony Cotty's in the 2-0 in '93, where he just sort of keeps possession in their box and then just sort of toe pokes it in. It's not a great goal, but it's like you said, Ed, about the Andy Johnson one. It was like, yes, we can these now. That's it. We're done. Because in the 85th minute, and it made it 2-0. They went in the game and it was like, yeah. And it was to have that feeling in your first derby in the ground that, God, we beat these here. It was great. So I'd go with that one. Liam said, always loved Duncan's in April '97 as it was his first derby. Toffee knows Calvert-Lewin's header last season because of what it meant for us at the time and what it did to their title hopes. JK, this is a nice one. One of my favourites was a non-goal. Suarez, 2013-ish, when Gerrard ran to the Bullens, sitting in the park end, Reds giving it loads. 10 seconds later, I think Jelic almost scored and play. Ground would have collapsed if that had gone in. Dave, any winner but Gosling's was sheer exhilaration, as was Wednesday's. Gosling's was a good one.
Gosling's was great, yeah.
Yeah,
Gosling's
it went off there, didn't it? Gary said, if we aren't including Tarky's, Sammy Hippie's own goal in '07, some finished that. Neil Ruddock's as well in '98, that was a lovely header. Or Danny Cad's in his first derby in '97, five Reds behind me, put refs, 5 Reds behind me in the lower Gladys crying, lovely. That was a great goal, wasn't it? Thought he was going to be a world beater after that, but we can't have things like that.
Was it Cavani, the right back he turned inside out as well?
Yeah. With the Gosling one, I was one of those who was home watching it on TV. So I got hit by the Tic Tacs. So everyone's the obviously Van der Meijden's crossed it in and it's coming down, and then ITV cuts out to the adverts and then Tic Tacs, and my dad and I get belt up out of our sofas. Where's the remote? Put 5 Live on. Put 5 Live on. I dive on it like Pickford collecting a loose ball. Put on 5 Live, and I can't remember who's commentating now, but they were going mental anyway. I'm like, they haven't gone down the other end, have they? No, because it's Gosling and Everton 1-0, so it's going mental, going around the table. So we just listened to 5 Live for the rest of the game. Didn't see the goal until like a day later. But one thing I distinctly remember as well is where we were living. It's extremely snowy, so we won the game. I obviously go into bed buzzing. Get up in the morning, snow day.
Oh my God!
Doesn't get any better than that.
No way.
It's not getting better than that.
No, you're not having anything.
Sometimes life's just perfect, isn't it?
Oh, I tell you, yeah. I thought I had it made then.
Did you see the video Everton put out last week where in that goal they put interrupted? They put a blip in the coverage. It was so good.
That was clever.
And I'd forgotten how good a goal that was. The way he sends 3 of them with a turn.
Yeah.
He's another one. What could have been if he hadn't been a little scab? Anyway, Mike has asked, are their heads back on yet? I don't think they are.
It's been unbelievable, the fallout. I can't believe. I'm reading some of the comments from Reds, and I'm thinking, have I watched a different game here? What is going on?
Yeah.
And do you know what? Just classic them, innit? You know, for all the and Van Dijk, the little bitch as well. Do you know all the it's their cup final and all that? Well, do you know what? They've gone on about it enough, haven't they, the last few days to realise how important it is. So don't ever listen to them when they give it all that. They were desperate to beat us, and they didn't. So have it. Horrible. I'm still in that Derby mode where I can't stand them and I hate them.
The thing is, they've kept us in Derby mode basically by going on about it, because they just spin out the fun for days on end. But I think about them as well, and this has been at the club for years. So Emlyn probably started with Emlyn Hughes, or maybe Shankly taking sly digs at Everton, then Emlyn Hughes, and then you had things like Benitez with a small club thing. Gerrard's come out with stuff. That knobhead saying it's their cup final the other day. They've got a long history of their staff and their players and managers slagging off Everton. I can't remember us doing that the other way ever. Can anyone think of
I don't remember. No, as you say, I don't remember.
I mean, if we're talking about one of our players taking the piss out.
I mean, the probably is, but
Sorry, go on.
When we talk about our players taking the piss out, I'm fairly sure it happened on Wednesday, and I'm fairly sure it started a big fight. But
there is that one.
I feel like
rightly so.
Yeah, but not in the media, is there?
Not
in the media. I don't remember anyone coming out and saying the odd slide dig or whatever. But I don't remember it now. I can't think of anything off the top. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I can't think off the top of my head.
No, I can't think.
They've done that whole cup finals thing a few times now. I'm sure Robertson did it or something, didn't he? One of them did it. So they did the whole. Oh yeah, we know it's.
It's just it's from a base of insecurity that you've been abused and you've been sort of. I don't even think they played brilliantly on Wednesday either. I thought we were the better team, and that might be blue tainted glasses on there, but I thought we were the better team. I don't remember wave after wave a Liverpool attack. I don't remember feeling as nervous when they attack like I usually do. Usually when they get the ball and they're in the final third, I'm thinking goal every time against us. But I don't remember feeling that at all on Wednesday. And I just think it comes from a place of insecurity. I think that they probably feel that they should have beaten us, players and fans. And because they haven't, they've taken it. It's almost like the Brighton game when Brighton took it so badly that we beat them. They can't handle it. And it just, as I said, it comes from a place of complete insecurity. And just, I'm still in, I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I'm still in that mode now.
We've only got about 3 more questions on this, and then you can calm down. I think if it is our cup final, though, it is quite cute how much money they spend on it, isn't it? Really? They always come laden with presents for us on our cup final, it's quite nice, really. Yeah, Mike, we'll pick up on that in a minute because I think that was the most embarrassing they've ever been. But anyway, Mike has also asked, and this is an interesting question, doesn't anyone sometimes just forget Moyes is our manager? Not in a bad way. Maybe it's because we recruited bad ones recently, but he never comes into my conscience. Just know everything is okay, I suppose. Yeah. I think it's true. It feels a bit, I don't know about you, Ben, it feels a bit like he's sort of never been away, and that last 10 years is a bit of a fever dream.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing for me. It's like I'm born 97. Like that's kind of all I know. Like when I was younger, at least until Martinez and stuff. But it's just like, so to me, like he's sort of the perfect fit for us. Like, and it's funny. It's like I was thinking, like when Potter went to West Ham or something like that. It's like, we could have got a young progressive manager and all that sort of stuff. It's like, I don't think anyone else could have done that or galvanized the way he has. And like, even in the presser the other day before this upcoming game, when he was like, like, let's just like be positive, It's just so refreshing. And it's just, yeah, it just works.
I think you're right as well. I think, like on Potter, I think we were 9 points.
I think that's
adrift
why
of
it's
West
so
Ham.
sort of like works so well.
Yeah, I think we were 9 points adrift of West Ham when he took over, and we're now ahead of them. So I mean, that's some. Potter's gone in at the same time, more or less. So you can sort of see the difference. Do you reckon anyone else could have done that? Difficult to say,
I don't think so.
That's the thing. I think with the players we have, it's just perfect.
You need a manager who can make something out of nothing, and that's his modus operandi, isn't it? That's what he's been doing since he was at Preston, even let alone when he was at us. We did need a manager who essentially would just come in, make very, very small changes, and say, "Right, I believe in you lot. You can beat these, and also I'm going to be pushing you hard." And that's what he does. You see loads and loads of players. Your Osmonds and Jagielkas have come out and said about Moyes. He used to really be demanding of us, and he always used to push for more. But on a match day when we were sitting there, he'd make us feel like we were going to batter whoever we were playing. And I feel like we needed that. There's too many players who were just low on confidence, didn't want to try stuff. Jesper Lindstrom's been crying his eyes out whenever he misses. You need someone to come in and say, you know what, you guys are amazing. You're class. You're going to qualify for Europe. Go and beat these lot. We love a good these are shit. That gets us going for a game, and that's what David Moyes delivers that. But I agree. Actually, sometimes I do go into games like I was thinking about the Palace game and thinking, I don't know what Dyche's going to do with this lot. I'm thinking, no, it's Moyes. David Moyes. We'll be fine. It's nice sometimes just to remember and then see his wee face in the dugout and think, oh, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Warren, it feels different, but nicely familiar. I think for me, and I think there was an interesting comment from Beto the other day who said he doesn't scream at players when they're doing stuff wrong on the training ground. Now, who could possibly have done that? But I think you look at Beto, he's definitely a player who he definitely needs an arm around him. I think he just looks like a really nice fella who wouldn't really respond well to getting screamed at. So I think Moyes is different in the fact that, like Ed said, he was always demanding. And Dave's alluded to this a lot. He seems a lot more relaxed now.
He seems better. Yeah, he seems a better manager. I mean, that what he said in the press conference, I don't remember a time under David Moyes the first time around where he was so positive. And I don't know whether he's gone away since he's been with us in the 11 years. He's gone away and had other jobs and being a bit. I don't know. I don't know if he's just learned or I don't know whether because he's an older manager now as well. He's like, I want to enjoy this. I don't want to be, I've only got maybe a couple of years left at this before I retire. I want to have a good crack at it. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be thinking of all the negative all the time. But he definitely seems he's got more of a positive mindset than he did when he was with us first time around. And maybe that's come with experience. I don't know. But I agree with him. I mean, what's happened with Beto recently? I mean, it just comes down to good coaching as well.
Yeah.
And let's face it, there was words and inklings coming out that there wasn't really much coaching going on under Dyche. It was just a case of here's what you do and go and do it. Whereas Beto especially has been very vocal, hasn't he, about what's been going on recently and the training recently with him and others. And I think it's weird. It's like it's a breath of fresh air and it's something new and it's refreshing. But at the same time, it's very familiar, like you said, which is a good combination at the minute. And look, I mean, I think we'll struggle today. For instance, I think Wednesday's taken it out of us probably, and I think the injuries and everything else. I think it'll be a tough game today. And I don't know what, if we get a point, I'll treat that like a win because I think we're in that position at the minute. But I think there will be bumps in the road this season before we get to the summer because just of the context of where we are at the minute as a club, but. I don't think anyone else could have come in and got that. I know it's difficult to say, but I don't think anyone could have come in and got them 10 points. He's been brilliant, and I think it's just he was always a good man. Let's face it, he was, regardless of how he left first time around and everything else, and all that came with that, and all the sort of problems that maybe would about the subs or about Dither and Davey and all that sort of thing first time round. Ultimately, he's just a good manager, isn't he? He's just a very good manager, and the last 5 games have proven that. I mean, even Bournemouth. I mean, it's very rare that people leave the ground after the defeat and they're clapping the players off. I stayed, to the very end against Bournemouth, and the whole grounds were applauding them for the effort. So I think even just that in itself is a great thing that he's brought back. And the fight at the end as well, just quickly on that before we move on. The fighting at the end, that was Everton. That's Everton back. That's everyone fighting for the badge and fighting for the cause. And I don't think that's been there it doesn't seem it's been there the last few years. And Michalenko's reaction, punching the ground, and it just feels very at one at the minute. And I love it. I love it. I love seeing it. Virgil van Dijk, the bitch.
That's the second one. Get one more of them in before the end, and you get to keep them. So it kicked off at the away end, which leads us nicely into Gary's question. Big Reds away end at Goodison. Which is the one that makes you cringe the most, not including Wednesday night? Tesco bags in 07, socks in 09, the cop-out behaviour flag 2. For me, it's the 25th anniversary card he brought out that time, which was just a massive openable birthday card. It's like, that must have cost a few bob as well. And just really, really, really trying so hard to wind us up. And it's like, but Ed, what's your, what away end from them has made you cringe the most?
I mean, I've got to be completely honest. I've only been to 2 derbies, so I've only experienced 2 away ends. Very different. The 4-1 under Benitez.
Oh, God, yeah.
I was very close to them, actually, from where I was in the Bullens that day. And then the 2-0, which I got to watch them melt down from the park end, which was lovely. I think they just bring a very special brand of cringe to any derby. And it's a real mix of arrogance and people who've spent genuine money to try and have some quote unquote bants, which is just horrific. And a group of away fans who just don't seem to understand the culture. I did see that a Red was arrested after the game, and they're from Croydon, and not to cast aspersions or anything, but it's interesting. So I think it's always one of the greatest things, if not the greatest thing about the 2-0 back in April, was watching them all file out quietly before full time. They had been truly piped down, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was nice. I think, was it the cover of the programme? It was something on social whereby it was a shot from the Gladys Street from last year's derby, and you could see the empty bits in the away end. It was fantastic. Ben, what did you make of that away end on Wednesday? From watching it on the TV? Did it look as bad as actually?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, the commentary over here is letting us know that what they're singing and all that sort of thing, and it's and it was just like, oh God, if we get a goal, it just changed everything. So it's it was so good that we did get a goal, because obviously the singing at the end was shit too.
Yeah, well, that would to score that equaliser after they just finished singing "We won the league at Goodison Park" and it just launched into "You'll Never Walk Alone." To score at that moment and silence, it was incredible. Warren, you've seen a few away ends in your time, which is the worst?
I think the sock one for me. When I think was it the Gosling one, they were doing all the sock throwing. I was listening to our mates Liam from the Good Times podcast. I was listening to their show on it, and they were talking about it in the 09 season. Yeah, and they were saying about how at the time the Echo the Red Echo were reporting about it being these funny red men in the away end, and then I think they were saying about someone wrote in to the Echo and said, well, actually an object got thrown at my daughter and hit her in the face, and the Echo had to sort of double down and respond to it by not offering an apology, but being like, oh, we're aware that people shouldn't be throwing objects onto, but it's the way it was treated at the time, oh, it's funny, it's hilarious, and well, actually no, it's not, because you're throwing objects onto a field which is not allowed. And
for context, if anyone doesn't know, the reason they were doing that is because the move to Kirby was on at the time, and Scousers call people from Kirby sock robbers. So that's what the implication was, that we're going to Kirby, we're going to be a gang of sock robbers.
Throw a load of socks onto the pitch. Yeah, no, and what the lad said on the pod as well, they were saying, I'm sure that the Liverpool Echo readers at Kirby were delighted with the with that, but I mean, I just, in some ways, I pity them, because the experience on Wednesday night and the atmosphere on Wednesday night come from a very local and very. When I say local, obviously we've got Ben here with us today, and I know Ben's in Australia or whatever, and no, but what I mean is it's not exclusive to people who are from L4 or people who are from Liverpool. But the partisan crowd come from a very local mentality, if that makes sense. And I just feel bad for them because they haven't got that anymore. There won't be an atmosphere like that at Anfield. It'll be loud at Anfield maybe, or it'll be, it's a derby. But it's like what Ed just said then, the fella from Croydon. The ground is full of people like that now, and they don't know and they don't understand what it is to be a fan of a team, your rivals, who are low, and the ground was full of that, and that's why the ground was so angry. I mean, I commented on the weekly yesterday, or when we recorded the other day, that it was the most angry, I think, and the most up for it crowd I've ever seen in a derby. And part of it was to do with the fact that it was the last game of Goodison, but they won't have that, and they will never have that anymore, because essentially they are a tourist club with tourist supporters with Thomas Cook packages going to the game to experience a day out. We're the opposite. We are there. We love and support Everton, and that's it. I just feel bad, and they have to bring themselves to do things like what they did in the away end to feel some sort of identity in a local derby. It's like it's forced. It's very forced to feel like they understand what it means. And on the opposite end of it, we don't need to do that. We're there because we know what it means and we know what it's about. They're there because they're trying to create something which they want to understand, but they don't. And that's it for me. That's how I'm very angry this morning. I apologize. I've come across very disturbed this morning. I'm not.
I quite like that. We don't see angry Warren enough. I think just on the Everton crowd as well the other night, I think they played into our hands there because they made the game a fight. They started kicking our players and getting away with it. And the second that happens, that gets everyone together. That's like the last thing you want to do to a crowd at Goodison is like give them an excuse to start getting angry about decisions the referee's making and things that your players are doing. They did the same last season as well. I think I read they made 10 fouls in the first 10 minutes in last season's derby at Goodison. So, they kind of bring that on themselves. Back to that away end again. Sorry, we're nearly done. Liam, midweek apart, what's the most embarrassing balloon display you've seen?
I mean, it's Newcastle, isn't it? I can't even get away from football. It's Newcastle and their minty, inflatable dinosaur nonsense. Being in the Park End for that 3-0, where they had to very silently stamp on all their balloons after we had absolutely eviscerated them. It was one of the greatest feelings of schadenfreude I've ever had in my entire life. It was glorious.
It was.
And when they do it, they set themselves up for a fall. I just think, stay away from Card Factory. Just go to the game and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know how any fans can go into a game that confident to take the piss like that. Because we'd automatically think this is going to bite us on the arse badly. These people don't seem to think that. Ben, any embarrassing balloon displays aside from Newcastle?
I haven't got anything, so I'll go to either of the two. But
yeah, fair enough. I think
it'd be hard to beat anyway.
What's that?
It'd be hard to beat anyway.
Warren, any advance on Newcastle?
Well, just on the Carabao Cup final, since we brought Newcastle up, is everyone going for a big long walk that Sunday?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, that's just going to be the worst, isn't it? Imagine Wembley that day. Imagine being inside Wembley. I don't know. Anyway, embarrassing balloon displays. I'm going to go off football for a second, and I'm going to tell you about a moment when I was in primary school. We did one of those things in primary school where you put your school name and address, and they set all the balloons off. So you write your name and address, or you write your school name and address inside the balloon. You blow the balloon up. And then there was like 100 balloons that we all set off. And the idea was that wherever it landed, hopefully whoever got the furthest away, they'd write back to you. So the thing on the card said, write back to us. And then we'd measure or we'd find out who got the furthest, whose balloon got the furthest, and whoever's balloon got the furthest won. And I think the most embarrassing thing about it was, I think it was 10 miles, the furthest one. Because normally these things, sometimes they go to France or sometimes they go to Europe because of the way the wind blows. And I think ours was just down the street, and someone wrote back and went, "Oh yeah, they are here," and that was the furthest one. So that was the most embarrassing. When that question come up, it immediately brought me to mind to that. So yeah, that was the most embarrassing. A 10-mile balloon in the air, and then that was it, done.
The thing is, though, on the plus side, not many people get a postcard from Birkenhead. So
no, exactly.
Not all bad.
Exactly.
What do you put on the front of those postcards?
It was. Do you know what it was? I'd say it was. I don't even know if they do it anymore at schools, but yeah, it was that. It was just that thing of right back. We're from such and such a school, and we want to know who's got the furthest. And yeah, it was like the end of the street.
any postcards from Birkenhead would just have to be a picture of the Wimpy in Birkenhead Town Centre.
Yeah,
one of the only surviving Wimpies in the world, I think. Foxy, did they lose the league at Goodison Park again? I want optimism, people. Tar. It's hard to say yes because I don't think they have, but
I've made peace with them winning it.
Themselves a bit.
Yeah, I've made peace with them winning it. And I think the worrying thing is there isn't like a City juggernaut this year, is there? It's Arsenal, and let's be honest, Arsenal are quite pathetic. So
yeah, I mean, Ben, if they do, it's them fucking it up, isn't it? Not someone else winning it.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like if it all falls apart, it'd be like pretty catastrophic and amazing, but yeah, and like they did lose in the other day as well, but like it's unlikely, isn't it? Yeah, it's amazing that how like Arsenal just haven't taken advantage of this year, but yeah, it's wild.
But to add the 7 points in it, they've still got to play Arsenal, who will obviously flap it. They've still got to go to City. I think could happen.
Have they got United again as well? I know they played United twice, haven't they?
They've got Wolves this weekend, haven't they? And I think Vitor Pereira still owes us one after the absolute nonsense of his multiple applications for the job. So if he can mastermind a win and then look at the camera and do a bit of a sort of mocking phone celebration, call me Farhad, then that would be nice. No, we've literally just been talking about the fact that we don't make big statements because we know it's going to bite us. So we're absolutely not getting drawn into this one. But if the Liverpool Arsenal game happens with something riding on it, that'd certainly be very interesting.
Yeah, we can all hope. Foxy, don't try and bait us like that again, please. Right, a little bit of soccer chat before we get on to some other stuff. And Ken has asked, will we see any sort of resurgence from Jack Harrison in an Everton shirt? Looks void of confidence. I think he did all right the other night. Warren?
Yeah, I agree. I think he did okay. We were talking on the weekly again about redemption arcs with Moyes and players, and we've seen it with Jake O'Brien. We've seen it with Beto. No reason why it can't happen with Jack Harrison.
Yeah. I like the confidence there. Ben, do you think left wing suits him better?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's say he would looked better in the game before, but like I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, he put in some good balls the week prior with and we just didn't capitalize on it. But yeah, like it's wild because he was pretty good at Leeds. Like, I was like, oh, this is a good signing, but. And even at the start of the season, I'm like, oh, you see all the clips of him training early and that sort of thing, and you're like, oh, he could be onto something. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the way he can pull the ball out of the sky like with his first touch, and then he just stood still, and you're like, oh fuck, he could have taken a man now. But yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah,
coaching, right.
His first touch is incredible, but it's the second, third, and fourth the problem. Can any player that well groomed really have a good career?
No, not at all. I think Moyes needs to get on there and give him a good towel.
Yeah,
it's poor. You don't want to see that nonsense. Yeah. Too much Brill cream. I think it's weighing him down. If anything,
utter woke nonsense of a grooming.
100%.
I think the issue I have with Harrison being on the left is he's sticking way too close to that byline. and he's just running into blind channels. I think that's what annoys me a lot, is that he's just running in situations where he doesn't really have the smarts or the physicality to get out.
Yeah.
So I actually prefer him on the right when he gets the chance either to hit the byline or to cut inside. But Lindstrom probably isn't going to play on the left. We have what we have. I think if he is going to have a resurgence, it's going to be right now, where David Moyes put an arm around him and going, "We're relying on you, Jack. We've literally got nobody else. We've got crash of kids on the bench. I don't want to bring them on. Please do something." So this is his chance. I'm not confident, but we had all written off Beto. There was a stage where we'd all written off Doucouré. I think it's about 3 or 4 stages where we've written off Doucouré. And some of these players, they get back. So I'm not a huge fan, but I will back him. And I think we'll all back him. So good luck to him.
I think you're right.
Sort your hair out.
We're going to see in the next few weeks because we've got no choice. As you said, it's like, we are down to like the bare bones of the squad. Toto Moto, do you have any pre-match superstitious rituals? Over the past 3 seasons, he has thrown out or put into the garbage almost everything red from the flat, had countless lucky t-shirt undies combinations, which he started wearing when Moyes returned, doesn't drink red wine on match day. He's a teacher in Vietnam and asks his class to chant Everton win on match days. If we do, they get chocolate. There are more, but it will get embarrassing. Toto Moto, I think we need to hear some of these more because you really got me at the Everton win chant. I love the chant of that.
Yeah, we need videos of that. We need to see it.
Warren, do you reckon you get anything out of that being a teacher?
Do you know what? Funnily enough, my mate's in the States the other day. It's his birthday, on Monday. And I got all the kids. I said, listen, do me a favour. I'm going to video us now. Can you all say happy birthday to me, mate? I'm going to send it to him on Monday. But I haven't gone as far. I don't think I'd get away with it. I don't think the kids would join in with it. It's getting them to chant Everton win or come on Everton. I think that'd probably get abuse from them if I tried to get them to do that. But no, in terms of rituals, in terms of superstitions, I used to be terrible when I used to play football. I used to be terrible for it. I used to be really superstitious. Nowadays, with anything, I'm not. Like, do you know little things like if you're filling up your car with petrol, like it's got to be on a 5 or a 0, and if it's not, Everton are going to lose. Like that type of thing. I used to do that, and now I'm just. What's that?
Magpies are the one for me.
RD, yeah.
I'm not over Magpies.
Yeah, but I used to put when I used to get dressed, I used to put my left foot sock on first before the right foot, and socks on, after, before anything else and all that. So I used to do all that when I used to play football, but it's loads of bollocks, let's be honest. It is. It's just a load of rubbish. But if it makes you feel good and it gives you a positive mindset, then I'm all for it. But after filling my car too many times on the exact amount of petrol and Everton still losing, I gave up in the end. So
I feel like any sort of ritual can't last very long because you will, and I think maybe that's why Toto Moto's got about 10 in that list alone. Ed, have you got any?
God, no. I do think it's rubbish, absolute nonsense. I think when I was a child, I drank lemonade from a red cup on a day of a derby and we lost 3-1. And I'd swore off touching anything red on Derby Day. And it obviously lasted until I was about 10. I gave up on that very quickly. No, I think it's nonsense. But I will say, coercing a class of people to chant Everton win is magnificent. And I love it.
We need to see the video. We need to see the video.
If I hear that, if I hear them doing it, I feel like I'm going to start doing it in the shower in the morning, going Everton win, Everton. So I can't have that. Please no.
Ben, any rituals?
Not really. Like I remembering to set my alarm probably to wake up.
I mean, a practical one.
Yeah, no, I used to wear a kit to watch it, but like it's obviously a bit stupid wearing a kit at home to watch television, but but
it's a safe space. You can admit to wearing a kit to watch the game.
Is it full kit? Right? Did you have the socks on? Did you have the socks on as well?
No.
Shin pads.
No, just
full John Terry.
Just the top. Just the top. That was it. As you say, it falls off pretty quick because you're like, oh, we've lost, and then it's like, maybe I'll wear a different one. Same thing. So it's like, but just setting my alarm.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think definitely a good habit to get into. I haven't really got one, but this was an unlucky hat for years. I mean, obviously a hat of the unlucky kit from '86.
Yeah.
But for anyone listening, by the way, it's a 1986 kit bobble hat. And I don't think we won a game for ages in that. And I think we've won one game. I've been wearing it, and Joe wore it on Wednesday night, and I was a little bit, should I tell him not to wear it? But he wore it, and it all worked out well in the end. So,
well, that's the turn of it now. The hat's done you proud, so you've got to wear it now every game when it's cold. Don't wear it in the summer, but when it's cold.
Yeah.
Short and bobble hat weather. We got Stephen. If you were to go on Mastermind, what would be your specialist subject? It can't be Everton. Ben, come to you first.
So for me, it would be like anything Beatles or anything like Paul McCartney, like even weird Paul McCartney solo stuff. Like I'm your mastermind on that. We don't have mastermind over here that I know of, but I imagine it's quiz show, know your stuff. But
you basically get asked a load of questions on one subject, and it goes quite niche as well. People have really specific, like, I don't know, Everton 2004-05 season could be your mastermind subject. It can.
I saw someone on there once with service stations on British motorways was their special subject.
Keith, was it?
That was Keith.
It might have been Keith. It might have been.
Wow.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's a good one. And Paul McCartney's solo stuff, it's quite underrated. I remember when I got Paul McCartney All the Best album compilation on tape, and it's magnificent. Bit of Wings in there as well. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Don't pull at that thread. Ed, what's your mastermind subject?
I think I feel like I can't use my degrees, but I did a modern history degree, and I focused on genocide. So I'm not going on TV and going, I'm going to talk about genocide, please. So I think I'm instead going to go for seasons 3 to 8 of The Simpsons.
Which took me answer.
Not only do I feel like I do well, and that's the golden age, by the way, 3 to 8. But I would happily do some intense research before going on.
Oh yeah, that would be the fun bit, wouldn't it? Warren, you the same then?
Yeah, my answer was going to be seasons 1 to 10 of The Simpsons. I actually saw some fella actually did seasons 1 to, I think it was even 1 to 9 or something. He did on Mastermind. It was a special subject, and the questions he asked, they were some very niche questions that only a true like hardcore fan would know. And I think I got one wrong out of the 11 asked, and I thought, that because of that reason, I'd have to. It was like what was the first letter on, whatever, Abe Simpson's letter that he wrote to Bart or something like that, whatever it was. It was like a really niche question, but I was quite happy that I got most of them right, and I think that would be mine as well, just because it gave myself the best chance of doing well in it. But yeah, and like I said, what a way to research as well. Just sit and watch classic Simpsons would be brilliant.
Yeah. I hosted the Simpsons quiz during lockdown, and I did get complaints for it being too hard.
Yeah.
So lesson learned.
So like, when does the Simpsons get really bad after season 10? Like, I've watched a good amount of the old Simpsons when it was on, like when I was younger, but it like, do you watch the ones that come out now? Are they terrible?
For me, there is a few newer ones that are quite good, but in terms of consistency, seasons 1 to 11, I'd give 11 a push as well. Were just incredible. Like every episode was on point. But I think there's a degree of a little bit running out of ideas, and I think it went from being they went to some balmy like episodes where like it was just quite slapstick, and I think it lost a bit of it lost its originality as well. And then, obviously as well, other animation shows come along as well, which diluted as well to a degree. But yeah, I just think it lost its way a little bit after season 11-ish. I think there's some good episodes in 12 and 13. The Treehouse of Horror episodes are always good, but yeah, after a while, it just became a bit nonsensical.
It's not really that it stopped being good. It's just the level you didn't get as many good episodes. There's still good ones now, like Warren was saying. It's just the quality is diminished to the point where the good ones really stand out, and you sort of get this feeling, you sort of dragging yourself. Actually, I might be talking about Everton. Same thing.
I think mine would be even more niche. It would be season 1, episode 1 of regular show, which is called The Power, and it's about a magic keyboard that Mordecai and Rigby get from a wizard. And they end up on the moon.
That'd be so niche if you get about 15 questions on that. It's at exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. What's on the screen, sort of thing.
I could probably do it because weirdly, I was having this conversation with Joe the other night. We were having tea, and Mastermind was on. I was saying what would be our like specialist subject, and we both agreed that season 1, episode 1 of regular show would be ours. So there you go. I like the way 3 of us have picked cartoons, by the way. Harry Sams, Rob. Sorry, not Harry Sams. Rob Harrison. Rob, how are you? Get you back on soon. Will the test event require a Just Stop Oil protester fastening himself to the new posts or a few bladdered fans to see how the BMD staff handle it? I think all things need to be covered, so I'd say yeah.
I'd personally invite, what was his name? Louis, is that his name?
Yeah.
The lad from the Newcastle game. I'd personally invite him to the first test event and ask him to do the same thing again, just as for purely test purposes. You know, why not? Everton legend. What was his name? Louis
McKechnie.
Yeah, McKechnie. Yeah. I remember the banner at Newcastle. We took away the finals the next time we played them, and it was Justice for Louis and a picture of him, which I thought was an incredible banner. That's how you do comedy, Reds, you little horrible. Anyway,
can we have a dig of Van Dijk at this bit?
No, I'm over it now. I'm over it.
This got me thinking. Actually, this question, like, if they're doing a test event, do you reckon they've sort of thought of all the weird things that can happen at a football match and try and like sort of mitigate it at a test event?
That's impossible. Football will always reach new levels of weird.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think what they're hoping for is everyone will file in, have a look around.
Well, I love yelling when some.
No,
just finish up there, Ed.
Sorry.
So a bit of a delay there, I think, Ben.
I think they're hoping everyone will just walk in and have a nice time. But this is Everton, so I'm expecting and I'm hoping for all of you going. There's got to be a few cranks in the crowd. You know, let's test this place out.
Yeah.
Someone's got to flounce if we go 1-0 down. So whoever's the designated flouncer, please make yourself known.
I'm happy to take that on.
Maybe we... Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe we need someone to try and do the Nyarko moments as well. if someone's struggling, get up, see if you can get on the pitch and try and take your shirt off.
Just grab a random under 18 player and have a go with them.
Ruin the lad's life.
Some children.
Sorry, Ben, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying. I was laughing the other week listening along when you guys were talking about testing the booing, and just like thinking of the under 18s just experiencing that for the first time playing in a full stadium. So yeah, that would be.
They've got to be ready. They've got to be ready.
Yeah, if anything's going to make you an Everton player, that's it, isn't it? Right, we're going to finish on a couple of food-related questions. Mike, with a bit of a weird dislike here. What's the point of yoghurt?
Interesting.
I mean,
quite like it.
That's an insight into Mike there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
yogurt's essential, isn't it?
Yogurt's. I've got no problems with yogurts. They're fine in my book.
I would have been full with him like a few months ago, but I don't have dairy, but yeah, discovered coconut yogurt, and it's awesome. So proper game changer.
Never tried. That sounds good though.
Coconut yogurt.
What do you have with it?
Big over here. Literally just vanilla, like just a little scooper. Yeah.
Do you have any like honey on it or anything, or just on
no? My girlfriend, she does like fruit with it and all that sort of thing, but I'm just like give me it after dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like an intricate yogurt setup with like berries and seeds and nuts and honey and everything. I'm
Yeah,
Better
granola.
Warren does.
Someone in work the other day had a munch bunch. Do you remember munch bunch?
Oh God,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to love them when I was a kid, and I haven't seen them for years. And someone had them, and I thought, oh, that looks good. Bit of munch bunch. But yeah, no, I've got no problem with it. Love a Muller Light or whatever they are. Miller Light, whatever they're called.
One's a beer, one's a yogurt.
Yeah.
Ed, where are you on yogurts?
I'm fine with it. I was a big Frubesman when I was a kid. Big Frubesman. I love a Frube.
Yeah.
You know, sounds ridiculous, really. You've got a tube of yogurt you're just pushing into your mouth. I think anyone who's enjoyed a Frube will know you have to clamp it at the end and really squeeze and pull to get every little drip of yogurt out. But I personally haven't had yogurts in years. I just haven't seen the need to eat them. But I love good yogurt. Bit of fruit in there. Great. I'm for the fruit. I'm pro fruit.
Good stuff. Yeah, Ben, maybe try it on your coconut yogurt. Could be another game changer.
Well, there you go. I'll step up. It'll take me a few months. Just got to work it up. It took me a while to get back to yogurt.
Yeah, don't go straight in. Yeah. And finally, from Toffee Nose, what's your favourite type of nuts? If it was 2015, obviously the answer would be these nuts, but it isn't. So we won't go there. Ben, favourite nuts?
I've got to say coconut now, don't I?
Yeah, I suppose so.
No, that's the thing. Almond milk. I'm a big almond milk drinker, so I've got to say almond. And then pistachios for snacking. So I hope I didn't take everyone's answers, but
yeah, pistachios in the middle of light. Warren, what do you reckon?
Absolutely. Good bar snack. I went through a phase. Do you remember with the Nobby's nuts, the chili flavour? Nobby's nuts. I went through a phase of having them all the time because they were fantastic. I'm not a massive nut eater, but I'm going to go on. Well, I don't know if this counts or not, but my favourite nut, Crunchy Nut cereal. Phenomenal brand of cereal, that. And I'd have that every day for me the rest of my life if I had to. Brilliant. So I'm going to go say that.
Do you remember the advert for Nobby's Nuts? Nibble Nobby's Nuts and Noddy
It was him off Noddy Holder. Yeah, it was him, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Ed, we'll finish on your favourite nuts.
I'm afraid I can't be original here because I am completely and utterly in sync with Ben on this one. Almonds are great, and I love pistachios. I'd have to give a shout out at this point to Fritto, which is on Smithdown Road for anyone who's in the city. Do Italian style street food where they make their own pistachio based pesto.
Oh my
so
God.
They put it in sandwiches and in panzerotti, which are deep fried calzones, and
that
it's
sounds
it's
amazing.
absolute heaven.
Pistachio cannoli as well.
Oh yeah, they do them too, and they are on point.
What's this gaff called? Because Jay lives on Smithdown Road, so I might have to
get there.
Fritto.
It's incredible. Fritto.
Sound right.
I will honestly, I will recommend it to anybody with even a slight love of Italian food. I think yesterday,
incredible.
We do this thing at work where we have it once a month, and nothing gets done once we've had it. Not a thing.
That's how you know it's
heads drooping on desks. Yeah, so licking our fingers like happy cats. You know, that's pretty much it. So you can do amazing things with a pistachio, is what I'm saying.
This is true. Yeah, I think pistachio gets it then. Right, that is it for this week's mailbag. Lovely way to spend Saturday morning. Yeah, thanks to Ben for joining us.
Yeah, good debut, Ben. Well done, mate.
Well played.
You brought coconut milk to mailbag. Well done, lads.
Thanks to Warren and thanks to everyone who sent questions in. That's been it for this week's mailbag. We'll catch you next time. Up the toffees.